Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. Sometimes I think that we forget that God's people were enslaved. Not once, but many times, and for very long periods of time. In the case of their time in Egypt, it was 430 years. These were people who were people of faith. These were people who had led full and vital lives in God's company, and all of that just disappeared into the swamp of slavery. They were absorbed into the ant-hill society of Egypt, carrying bricks, building arrogantly pompous tombs. They did all this instead of living free under the stars, listening to the voice of God. God goes and rescues his people from slavery. And he does this through Moses. And Moses led them across the hot sands of the desert to Sinai. Sinai, a gigantic volcanic mountain. And here they camped and began learning what it means to be God's people instead of Pharaoh's people, to live free instead of being enslaved, to live by faith, for 4 centuries they had lived under the tyranny of the Pharaoh, building Pharaoh's pyramids, doing as they were told, and now they had to learn not to build buildings for a tyrant, but to build a community of faith in the presence of God. Moses at Mount Sinai received the 10 Commandments, which were to provide and preserve a free life. Each commandment articulates a reality and a value that protects free life. Their lives were no longer ruled by a megalomaniac person who claimed to be God. It would take them a while to realize that each person was now of eternal value in and of themselves. When Moses goes up the mountain a second time, he's gone for a long, long time. And the people get bored. Nothing was happening. They were not going anywhere. There was nothing to do. There was nothing to see. All their lives they had never known anything but hard work. What they did not realize was that emptiness and being is a prerequisite for getting full. They grew impatient and they began to make demands. They wanted Aaron to make them a god. We too sometimes make this demand. When we are bored, we want something that will be different, something that we can have control over, something that will give us what we want. They did not want to live by faith. They wanted to live by sight. They wanted gods they could see. They wanted gods who would give them what they wanted. A God that they could see. We do the same. Aaron made the calf, and he became the accomplice in this process of seeking a visible God. People today look for a religion that makes no demands and only offers a reward. a religion that dazzles and entertains, a religion of no waiting. And usually they will always find a willing Aaron. God now explodes in anger when the people worship the calf that they made. This anger reveals to us that God is not indifferent to us. He is not unconcerned. He is not impersonal, unemotional, and cold. He loves us. But in a moment of boredom, we turn our backs on God and we look for gods that will suit our needs, gods that entertain, pamper, and amuse. We abandon the silence of worship and fill the air with commercially viable music. We regress from a life of faith to the old slave religion that reduces God to a decoration. This matters to God when we diminish our lives by worshipping something beneath us. But Moses intercedes for the people. In the midst of the power and glory of God, there is this shabby story of rebellion, and yet the consequences of deliberate rebellion is forgiveness. And this is our story. Human resistance and rebellion meets God's mercy. God gives us his all. And then in a moment of restlessness, of anxiety, of inattention, of boredom, of rebellion, we blow it and turn to something stupid that we believe will save us. And then we are devastated when it does not, and we abandon our hope. But it is Jesus, while hanging on the cross, who says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." It is this example of loving forgiveness that walks before us each day of our lives. We know that in God there is freedom. We need to choose freedom and not slavery. Amen.